families broken, and a nation questioning its safety. School shootings in the United States are a tragic reality, where classrooms meant for learning turn into scenes of unimaginable horror.
And then that's when I stopped, but a teacher kept telling me, like, we gotta go, we have to go.
I understand what I did was wrong. Very, very wrong. And I'm sorry.
I was standing there on the outside and I could see in through the crack.
School function, and you're charged with armed trespass on the school.
Formal reading and advising.
Yes, Your Honor, we have had an opportunity to speak.
Starting with the case of Andy Williams. On March 5, 2001, 15-year-old Andy Williams walked onto the campus of Santana High School with a loaded .22 caliber revolver he had taken from his father's locked gun cabinet. Within moments, he opened fire, killing 2 students and injuring 13 others. Sergeant Robbins' husband, Paul Robbins, then a deputy and a member of the SWAT team, was working out at a nearby fitness center when he received the urgent alert about an active shooter at Santana High School. The Santana High School shooting occurred nearly 2 years after the Columbine High School massacre, which had prompted significant changes in emergency response protocols. Deputy Ali Perez, one of the first responders, recalled the urgency he felt and the decision he and his team made to enter the school immediately rather than waiting. For many, including retired Deputy Perez and Sergeant Robbins, driving by Santana High School brings back vivid memories of that day. Even years later, the wounds of that day remain fresh, particularly on significant anniversaries. However, Andy Williams, now serving a 50-to-life sentence at the California Institution for Men in Chino, remains a stark reminder of the lasting impact of school violence and the necessity for continued vigilance and compassion in our communities. But what happens when a shooter shot down a teacher as well? Timothy Simpkins, the convicted Timberview High School shooter, currently serving a 12-year sentence, is facing new charges related to the October 2021 shooting that injured a teacher and 2 students. According to Tarrant County court records and statements from his attorneys, Simpkins, now 20, was convicted of attempted capital murder in July 2023. In a surprising development, the Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office has now charged Simpkins with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and 1 count of unlawfully carrying a weapon in a prohibited place. These charges stem from the same incident, according to court documents.
I understand what I did was wrong. Very, very wrong. And I'm sorry. I truly am sorry.
A grand jury indicted Simpkins on April 9th, and the case is scheduled to go to trial on May 16th. On May 7th, Pamplin filed a plea of double jeopardy and a motion to dismiss the indictment based on multiple punishments for the same crime. Later that day, an amended indictment was filed, replacing Pettit and McKinney with 2 additional individuals who were present at the scene but not injured. In addition to the Timberview charges, Simpkins faces separate charges related to a shooting at a racetrack gas station in Arlington on September 26, 2021, just 10 days before the Timberview incident. Simpkins claimed that he fired at a vehicle after being attacked and robbed. A grand jury indicted him on aggravated assault and deadly conduct charges in August 2023. But wait for this next case where James Holmes murdered and maimed so many people at Theater Intro. James Holmes was sentenced to life without parole today by a jury at a Colorado courthouse, concluding a high-profile case stemming from the July 20th, 2012, shooting that left 12 dead and 70 injured at an Aurora movie theater. For Holmes to receive the death penalty, all jury members would have had to agree on its imposition for the 2 counts of first-degree murder related to each victim who was killed.
And once again, what was your thought when the phone call ended? I'm really going to do this. Okay. Then you mentioned a thought after that about the FBI stopping you. Right. Tell me about that thought. Well, once I got outside and was in the light, I thought the FBI would then come in and arrest me. Once you got outside the car in your gear? Yeah. And were in the lights, you said? Yeah. Okay. Did you do that quickly and move quickly into the theater, or did you stand there a while?
There was kind of like a corridor in the back. So I went down that, and then you could also go to the side a little bit and be out of sight of the back parking.
Still outside the building?
Still outside the building.
So about how long were you outside your car and outside the building in your gear?
Maybe 2 minutes.
Really? That long?
I don't know if that's long or not.
Okay. And I'm not saying that I don't believe you or that that's not accurate, but that's your memory of about how long it was?
It could have been a minute. I don't know.
If you were to have gotten out of your car and walked to the door and entered it, roughly how long would that have taken?
15 seconds.
So substantially, you took it sounds like you're saying you took substantially more time to re-enter the theater than was necessary. Is that your memory?
Yes, I was kind of in the alcove a little bit.
Tell me about that period of time. What were you doing? What was going on?
I was standing there on the outside, and I could see in through the crack of the door.
Okay. Are you in the light at that point, or not in the light?
I'm in the light, but it's shielded from the back parking lot.
And what is the feeling or the purpose or if I were watching you from afar or on a video or something, what would I be seeing? What would I be thinking is going on?
What's he waiting for, I guess? I don't know.
So let me ask you, what were you waiting for?
I don't know why I waited.
I can think of waiting strategically to be sure it was clear, or waiting hoping someone would stop you, or waiting to be sure your gear was on right, or reasons like that. Do any of those ring a bell or not?
Well, I dropped a tear gas canister, and I had to look for that, and I couldn't find it.
Oh, you couldn't find it? Did it stay outside?
I don't know if it was when I was getting out of the door of the car. So it kind of fell, and I don't know where it fell.
So you didn't recover it before you went back in?
I had two, so I wound up just using the one I had.
Okay.
Holmes had been convicted last month on all 165 charges against him, including 12 counts of first-degree murder for each of the deceased and 70 counts of attempted murder for those injured. The trial had seen emotional testimonies and harrowing details, capturing the gravity of Holmes's crimes and the impact on the survivors and families of the victims.
Did you spend some time, looking for it?
Maybe 30 seconds.
How'd you feel when something dropped that sounds like an unexpected thing happening? What thoughts or feelings did that bring up as you were trying to carry out the mission?
It didn't bring up any feelings. Just that I needed to find it.
And you needed to find it because?
For crowd control.
No sense of panic or
No.
something's gone wrong?
No, nothing.
Okay, all right. Thank you. You went out the door. How'd you get back in? Those doors generally lock from the inside.
I had looked all around for a device that would go onto the door and hold it open with as minimal amount of space open as possible. So I wound up buying picnic tablecloth clamps
Or the little clips that fit on the...
that hold the tablecloth to a table.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine, like turning a table sideways, then it looks like a door. And you can put it on the door and it won't close all the way, but be open just a very little bit.
Was there a handle on the outside of the door so you could grab the door to open it, or how did that work?
There was the width of the door, so...
Okay, it kept the door from even... It didn't stop the bolts from coming through, but it kept the door from closing into the jam.
Right.
Okay. So you're going back inside, and what all are you carrying?
A shotgun, and the AR-15 was on a sling around me in front, and the handgun was in my belt.
Following the sentencing, a spokesperson for the Holmes family issued a statement expressing profound sorrow for the tragedy and the suffering endured by the victims and their families.
In one of the pouches where there was a bunch of handgun magazines.
One handgun?
Yeah, I left the other one in the passenger door.
Okay. Any particular reason you left it in the passenger door?
That's where I was changing, gearing up.
Did you forget it there or leave it there on purpose?
Leave it there on purpose.
And why?
Because it would have been extra weight to carry.
Okay. Did you have the gas mask on at that point?
I had the gas mask on in the car.
In the car, okay. And the helmet?
Yep.
Okay. Walk me through, you go in through the outer door, then what happens, and what do you see, what do you hear, what do you smell?
First, I opened the tear gas canister while I was still outside the door, and it made a hissing sound, and then I went inside and tossed it over on the right side of the theater.
As you walk up from the outside door, is there any other door between you and the audience? Or
No, there's
curtain?
only that one door.
Is there any curtain or anything like that?
It's set at an angle so the whole audience can't see you, but they can still see you when you enter the door.
Okay. How did it feel to be really doing it?
Then it was an autopilot.
The decision to forego the death penalty, despite the severity of the crimes, reflects the jury's struggle with the gravity of the case and the challenge of reaching a unanimous verdict on such a crucial matter. But wait for this next case where a man shot student at Forest High School Bouche, a 22-year-old former student of Forest High School in Ocala, Florida, has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for shooting a student on campus. The shooting occurred on April 20th, 2018, when Bouche, then 19, entered the school wearing a tactical vest and concealed a sawed-off shotgun in a guitar case.
About the merits or the substance of the case, I'm here to determine whether or not there is probable cause to hold you on the charges that have been made. I'm here to see about getting you some representation by an attorney, discuss your bond status, and get your next court date for you. We're not going to talk about your case. I'm going to suggest that you not make any statements other than in responses to any questions that I may have. Everything that we're doing here is being recorded. There is a prosecutor over here. There's someone, an attorney here that here in case you need to consult for any reason. And anything that you say could be used against you in future proceedings. So I would advise you not to make any statements other than the statements that are made in response to questions that I may have, which won't involve the merits or the substance of your case. I've reviewed the charging document. You're charged with a number of offenses. They are an act of terrorism. You're charged with aggravated assault with a firearm.
He fired through a door, injuring a 17-year-old student in the ankle. Bouche, who dropped the weapon and surrendered immediately, expressed his desire to go to jail, citing feelings of being ignored and seeking media attention. He had previously researched church and school shootings and noted that school shootings garnered more media coverage. Bouche's actions were motivated by his belief that such incidents were underreported compared to others. He faced multiple charges including terrorism, aggravated assault with a firearm, culpable negligence, carrying a concealed firearm, possession of a firearm on school property, and armed trespassing. Bouche was sentenced to 30 years in prison and will also face 30 years of probation upon his release. He must serve a minimum of 25 years before he is eligible for parole, making him 47 years old at the earliest possible release date. If you thought that was bad, this is because you didn't know about Devon Erickson, who was arrested for shooting at school. This is Devon Erickson, who on May 7, 2019, carried out a shooting at STEM Highlands Ranch in a Denver suburb, killing one student and injuring 8 others. The attack was orchestrated in conjunction with fellow student Alec McKinney, who had planned the assault for weeks, targeting classmates who had taunted him due to his transgender identity. Erickson, then 18, faced a mandatory life sentence without parole due to the severity of his crimes.
Yes, we have, Your Honor. May I put you first?
Yes.
You left blank, and I'll give a copy to the defense advocate. The boxes that have particular.
Thank you. Ms. Stansel, have you had a chance to talk to Mr. Erickson, and do you waive any formal reading and advisement?
Yes, Your Honor, we have had an opportunity to speak with him, and we would waive any further reading and advisement.
Thank you. Have you had an opportunity to take a look at the protection order?
I have not.
Sorry to approach.
And Your Honor, would you like this copy signed, or would you like me to return this copy?
That copy can be signed, but I haven't filled it out yet, so if you're comfortable signing it, that's fine. If you want to wait until it's filled out, that's fine too.
In addition to the life sentence, Slade imposed additional time for the multiple charges of attempted murder and other counts. Kendrick Castillo, an 18-year-old senior, was hailed as a hero for his bravery in trying to stop the attack.
They're identified. No alcohol or drugs, obviously. No firearms or other weapons. And do not return to STEM High School.
Ms. Stansel? Any objection to those requests?
No objection.
So, Mr. Erickson, I am entering this protection order. It's mandatory pursuant to 18-1-1001. It says that you shall not harass, molest, intimidate, retaliate against, or tamper with any of the witnesses to or victims of the act you are alleged to have committed. The victims were named in the mandatory protection order, the specific people that you shall not have any contact with. You'll stay away from the homes, their homes. You'll stay away from any other location that they are likely to be found. You'll not contact directly or indirectly any of those folks that were named in the protection order.
He, along with Joshua Jones and Brendan Bailey, intervened when Erickson's gun jammed, preventing further casualties. McKinney, who was 16 at the time and had pleaded guilty earlier, was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years. Erickson's father apologized to the victims and the community, expressing hope for forgiveness, although he acknowledged the difficulty of such a request. That's all for this video. We hope you have found this video informative and interesting. What are your thoughts about these cases? Let us know in the comments section. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon for more interesting videos like this. Thank you for watching our video.